All right, here in exercise two, we're still going to use that move or grab move. And let's kind of show you how we're going to kind of do this. So I have an XR rig here. Okay, that's here. And I actually had a boat. Okay, so there's this boat, and I'm just going to add it to the XR rig. So the idea is that when the boat moves, when the rig moves, so does the boat. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I have a left and a right controller, and they actually already have the track pose driver and the grab move provider that we talked about in the last video. It's already set up, right? Now, remember in the last video where we used little spheres as like kind of like hands? Since this is like a boat, the idea is I want it to be kind of like you're rowing a boat using two oars. You know what I mean? That's kind of the idea. So by the way, you can see the boat here underneath the player. And I actually have a model of a boat paddle. Okay, I built this pretty quickly in Blender. And so I'm going to actually use that as instead of having a hand icon, I want the oar to be, or the boat paddle to be the hand. So I'm going to take the boat paddle. I'm just going to drag it under there. Now it's pretty big, and so I'm just going to shrink it down. Okay. And I have a little wood. There you go. And there's the little wood material. So this is where it would actually hold it from right there, because that's a little too high up. I actually want it held from up here. So what I'm going to do is actually lower this. Okay, so what it's going to do is it's going to seem like you're holding it from the handle, And I'm actually just going to go and duplicate this and do the same thing for the other one. Okay. And so what's going to happen is if you were to save this, you'd have two oars as your handles, right? As your hands, basically. And what I want to do is I've actually set both of these grab move providers, so that they individually don't move at all. Okay. See how they're set to 0? This is so that one oar cannot affect the boat or moving the rig forward. And what I'm actually going to do is let's come into here, and I'm going to use the two-handed grab move provider. And let's set this up so that we're using the locomotion where the locomotion mediator is. And we're going to, once again, put in the right controller and the left controller. And we are going to say when it requires two hands for translation, so that means both hands have to be used. And then what that's going to do is cause it to kind of act like a rowing motion. And so in my little scene here that I've built, you can row the little boat through the water and then come up on the island. Okay, and that's kind of the idea of this. So I'm just trying to give you kind of ideas of like, what you could kind of do to make this kind of interesting. Okay. All right, last thing with the move grab is I have this scene here. This is scene 3. And I put in this really tall building. Okay. And down here is where the rig is. And so the idea of this one is I wanted to make it so that you kind of were climbing the building, so to speak. Like you ever watch like an old Batman where they like climb with a Gatling gun or something like that. That's kind of the idea here. So the idea is that I kind of wanted to make it seem like you're kind of pulling yourself up the building. So what I did is in my grab provider, I turned off the X and the Y, which is, basically forward, backwards, side to side, but I did keep on the Y axis. The Y axis is the up and down axis. So what that means is I can go up by using the controller, but I won't go side to side. And so I did that for both the left and the right. And so what's going to happen is when this was just kind of like coming up with interesting ideas of how to use this. I'm gonna like, when I get into the video, I'm gonna like pull myself up the building. Okay. And that's kind of like a fun little idea. It's like if you wanted to think about yourself as like a VR for like a Daredevil or something like that, you could definitely come up with some fun ideas.